brief introduction of the dish we are going to cook today. So the dish we are going to cook today is called butter chicken, and I have promised my friends in America that I will make this recipe in English, and it is very interesting to cook Indian dishes and speak in Hindi, in my language. The whole dish becomes very interesting. But anyway, since I have promised my friends in America, they're very few, but I'm sure this video is going to be very useful for people who do not understand my language, which is Hindi. So what is butter chicken? Butter chicken is the most famous dish all over the world, and it is an Indian dish. It is called an accidental Indian dish. But I do think that all dishes are accidental, and we just never had any kind of recipe before, and then people started mixing some ingredients and creating different flavors. But why there is so much of association of accidental dish or by chance dish with butter chicken is because it is loved by all people all over the world. So why it is loved by people all over the world, and why all the Indian dishes are not so popular except for butter chicken, because butter chicken is very low on heat, and it is basically very mildly spiced and very little sweet, very mildly spiced and little sweet, and lots of flavor is there. And main ingredient is chicken and tomato and some herbs, but and cream, and these are very reasonably acceptable ingredients, and they're not that overwhelmingly hot or spicy or bitter as Indian food can get. So this is the reason for popularity of butter chicken. So what is the history of butter chicken? And I cannot proceed further without discussing the history of butter chicken. So butter chicken was actually accidentally made by one guy called Kundan Lal. He was working in Peshawar in Gora market, and now I'm sure you're not aware of what is Gora. Gora means white. So when India was ruled by Britishers, there was a white market, the Gora market. So the white people used to go to his restaurant or a little place in Peshawar, and they asked for some food, and he did not have something ready. So what he did is he had some gravy, he mixed some butter and cream and put some stewed chicken pieces in it, and he just served it to them, and it became very popular. It became so popular that they took it back to London, and this is one of the most popular dishes in London, America, Canada, Perth, and you name it. So Mr. Kundan Lal, came back to Delhi, and he opened his restaurant, which is a very famous restaurant, Moti Mahal. Moti means pearl and Mahal means palace. And the Moti Mahal restaurant in Daryaganj was the first restaurant in India to start with this kind of recipe, and it's still very popular. So coming back to butter chicken now, I am going to show you the ingredients. Please do not get overwhelmed with the number of ingredients we are going to use. I have thought about this recipe for at least 2 weeks before shooting this, because I wanted to make it or simplify it as much as possible for the people living in foreign countries who have no idea of they don't want to experiment so much with Indian spices, or they have no idea of Indian spices. So I've tried to simplify this. I watched a lot of videos of other people making butter chicken, on YouTube and read a lot of recipes, but according to me, none of them is complete. So how do we go about it? How do we make this? How do I oversimplify it? So think about it that there are two pieces to it. There is chicken and there is butter. Now, butter doesn't mean literally butter. It does mean, but it doesn't really mean. So we actually make a very fine tomato soup, curry, or gravy, just like you make pasta sauce at home. We make a very, very fine tomato soup or a gravy or curry, or you could say a sauce at home. And we, flavor with spices, some spice mix, and put the barbecue chicken into it and simmer it for a few minutes and just serve it. This is the simplified version of the butter chicken I can give you. So let's try this. Okay. Indian dishes can take up to 40-50 spices or berries or flavors or fragrances or herbs or the ingredients. So if somebody says that it is not correct, then I have yet to show you the amount of spices we're using for butter chicken. So a lot of recipes on YouTube say that, oh, it's very simple, you could just make it, but if you try to make it, it won't turn out to be that great. People are using tomato ketchup or tomato sauce and sugar and all sorts of ingredients to make it, but this is not how it is made. So since my audience over here is mostly I'm targeting the people who can't speak in Hindi or who do not know anything about Indian spices, or who have no idea what we are doing right now. So I'm going to make it very, very simple for you. We are going to barbecue the chicken or fry the chicken, or you could say bake the chicken, roast it in the oven. There are 3 ways you can do that. And then we are making curry separately. So I'm not going to show you all the ingredients in one time. Right now, what we're going to learn is the marination of chicken, which comes first. Ideally, it has to be done ahead of time, like a day or maybe 2 days before that. There is no harm, because the pH level of the spices is so high that the chicken will not go bad for 2 days in the fridge. So let's start with the marination right now. Let's see, what do we need. For the marination of chicken, I have skewered some pieces of chicken already. I have washed it, de-skinned it, and dried it, and kept it in a bowl. What am I going to add into it? This is a spoonful of ginger garlic paste. And okay, I can get 2 spoons of ginger garlic paste. And I'm going to use red chili powder. Okay, so the red chili powder I have selected has almost no heat in it. This is more to have red color. There are many type of chili powders available, and paprika or chili powders are available. So this is the one with more color and less heat, and it is called degi mirch. You could get it on Indian store. And we have to add a little bit of salt. We have to add turmeric. And we have to add, so there is a spice available, and there is no harm in buying that spice. That's called tandoori masala. It's easier, it won't overwhelm you with to collect so many spices. So it's best to buy a little tandoori masala. And I'm going to add some fenugreek. So this is a herb. It's fenugreek, and I'm going to add a little bit of it into this mixture, like this. And I'm going to add a bit of coriander powder, else? Yes, we have to also add juice of at least 1 or 2 lemons. So I'm taking 2 lemons because my chicken is a lot, so it is big, 9 big pieces of chicken, so you can see and adjust the estimate according to it. So we have to also add yogurt. Now, this is not the yogurt you get in the market here. This is, you know, natural yogurt we are using from home. I hope you're able to see it. Okay. This is the natural yogurt, you know, we make at home. But you could use Greek yogurt also. And you could use yogurt from the Indian store. So while I'm mixing up everything, let's do a recap of what we have added into this marinade. So we have added chicken, which I skewered and dried. We have added salt, chili powder, which was red in color, like with less heat. We've added a tandoori masala, and you could get tandoori masala, any brand you could use. I don't have any favorite brand. I actually never use it, so I make my own tandoori masala. But just to simplify it for the audience, I have used tandoori masala. So basically, the chicken goes in, the Greek yogurt or the Indian yogurt goes in, the lime juice goes in, the salt goes in, and the chili powder goes in, and the fenugreek leaves. I mean, that is kind of optional right now, but we will need fenugreek leaves, so you have to buy it. It's the most essential ingredient over here, besides chicken and tomatoes. So all these things are getting combined, and I'm going to seal this mixture and put it in the fridge. See, I haven't added red color, but already the color is turning to be red because of the red chili powder and the tandoori masala I have used in it. So marination is, you know, uniform across the world, that you take the meat and you put the spices in it. Now, the spices we already told you is salt, pepper, and curd, lime juice, tandoori masala. I'm repeating myself so that I'm not missing anything here. And we make the best butter chicken today. Now what we can do is we can put a, you know, cling wrap or any kind of lid on top of it, and we have to refrigerate it. And when we put it in the refrigerator, I mean, just go on. Don't worry. Don't hurry to take it out. You could do it a day or two in advance. Okay, the more you marinate, you know, the better it is. So I have marinated the chicken and put the lid on the marination, and I'm going to keep it in the fridge for a long time. So now the time is to make the soup or the curry or the sauce, and I have all the ingredients here lined up, and I'll show you those one by one. Let us focus on the ingredients we have for the butter chicken curry. So we have, you know, a clarified butter, or you could use oil also. We have chicken stock. We have tomatoes. We have onion. We have some garlic here. A little ginger is here. Like, I'm not going to use all of it. And let's get this yogurt out of the way. Then we have, the same red chili powder. And then we have chilies. We have coconut powder. We have a little bit of garam masala. We have cumin powder. We have coriander powder. We have lots and lots of tomatoes. You could go up to 4 or 5. We have a can of tomatoes also. We have onion. We have garlic. We have ginger. We have, these are some chilies. I have dipped them in water. You see, they're in water right now. It's best to do it overnight. I have some cashew nuts here in water. And let's see what the spices I have are. I have fennel, powdered fennel. I have black pepper. So I have decided not to overwhelm you with a lot of spices and the number of spices and their names. What we are going to use is, now we're going to make the curry or the sauce for the butter chicken. And for that, we need a bowl. And we put some tomatoes, the raw tomatoes, ripe and red and as ripe as possible. And how many I'm going to use is, it just depends on you how many you are going to use. I'm going to use about 4 of them. And okay, so there are five tomatoes. Go step by step. So I'm using 5 tomatoes and a little bit of garlic. A stick or 2 of ginger. Here you go. This is called star anise. You can check how much I'm using. This is a sweet spice, a star anise. And then we are going to use a stick of cinnamon. Just a stick of cinnamon goes in it. I'm going to add some chicken soup, chicken stock to it. I've used the whole can, and I'm going to add a little water, and I'm going to put this on the stove and let it boil for. I'm also adding some bay leaves, some cardamoms, and a little bit of peppercorns. And they are very sweet spices: star anise, bay leaves, and cinnamon, and cardamom. They're very sweet spices. So while this is cooking, let's see what else we can do. It is very important to roast, barbecue, or fry the chicken. I'm shallow frying the chicken right now. The pieces of chicken are getting shallow fried. Why it is important is because if we add raw chicken to the gravy, it is going to lose all its juice or aroma. Right now we are searing the chicken on both the sides. Searing it very, very nicely on both the sides. So this is a pan. It has little clarified butter in it, and I'm searing. This step is very simple. I'm searing the chicken on both the sides on very high heat. The tomatoes have come to a boil, and I can show it to you. The skin is coming off now from the tomatoes. You know, here, the skin is coming off. And we are not going to use these spices. We are going to remove them. We just needed a mild aroma. I'm going to remove them. Now these chicken pieces are almost done. You can see they are turned red or seared on one side. I'm going to take them out one by one. The heat is very high. So what do we have now? We have our chicken, which has been shallow fried in very less oil. The chicken already has its fat and the yogurt and everything. So what we are going to do is cover it with a lid so that the moisture and the flavor stays in. So in order to make the curry or the sauce, I'm going to use the same pan where we fried the chicken, and put some roughly chopped onions. And saute them a bit, not much required. I'm sauteing the onion in the same pan, which had chicken juice. So we made this, soup, and it had some water on the chicken stock along with the tomatoes. We can actually add this to the onions now and let them simmer on a medium flame. Oh my God, the aroma is already very beautiful. The chicken and the masalas in the pan were stuck. Now they are lifted up due to the soup we added into it. Oh my God, so beautiful aroma right now, I can't describe. So the now time has come that I have removed the skin of the tomatoes, and they're not very cold, they're hot right now, so just be very careful. I'm going to add this into the grinder. I'm not using those whole spices we had taken. I'm going to actually strain them away. So these are some cashew nuts. I have soaked them. It's best to soak them for a couple of hours. You can put them in the tomato. And these are some of the chilies I have soaked, the red chilies. I can show it to you. And it's also to be soaked for a couple of hours. And I'm going to make a paste out of this. I'm also going to add a little cold water so that it just doesn't burst on me. So the liquid in the tomatoes, we had the chicken soup, the water, and the water from the tomatoes. We have strained it, and I'm going to not use the spices, just the ginger, the garlic, and I have strained the liquid and added it to the onions we are cooking right now. I'll show you in a bit how that's turning out to be. Okay, so here is the entire spice mix we used. The cinnamon, the star anise, the bay leaves, and the peppercorns, and the cardamoms. I'm going to throw this away. I'm not going to use it. The base of it is taken into the juice here. So I'm going to grind this into a fine paste. Let us see what is the situation with the onions we have here, which are cooking. So this was the pan in which we fried the chicken, and in little clarified butter or oil. The chicken has its own fat, and the masala and the spices stuck to chicken. They went into the pan, and in which we added the onions, the garlic, the ginger from the tomatoes, and the entire soup, the chicken soup and the water, everything goes in here. And this has been boiling for about 15-20 minutes. Here I add a can full of tomatoes in this. So this can is separate from the tomatoes we have used, we have boiled. We need both the things. Some people also use tomato paste, and it is okay. We could use tomato paste, tomato can, raw tomato, and all of these things are going to enhance the tomatoes and the number of tomatoes we need to cook with. And this is the fine paste from the cashews, chili, and the tomatoes we had boiled and de-skinned and turned into a paste. So let's see how it's turning out to be. I'm going to dim this light because it's very, let's see how the color is coming out to be. It's turning into a red kind of gravy, but it's not very red. So what are we going to add into it now? A little bit of coriander powder. We are going to add a little bit of garam masala and very little cumin powder into this mix, and coriander powder into this mix. We are also going to add a very sweet ingredient here. Which is fennel powder. So all these powders, the fennel powder, the coriander powder, and the cumin powder and the garam masala go in the gravy. And these is going to be cooked for a while now. You can change the flame according to your need. And I'm going to put a lid on it and let it simmer for some time. So the gravy is still getting done. It's been almost 15 or 20 minutes. So we haven't reached anywhere with it yet. It's not what we need. So we are still cooking everything together. And at this time, I'm going to add this salt. This is a pink Himalayan salt. This is required to get that little sulfur taste from the butter chicken and to make it seem very authentic. You could also use normal salt, but it's better to use the pink Himalayan salt. I have ground it to have an estimate of how much I'm going to use. Chili powder we had, it's the time to add it. This is, again, it's not very hot. It's mainly for the color, the red color we have to get. At this stage, we can also add a little bit of normal salt along with that Himalayan pink salt. And we have to add, see, the only two mixes, the spice mixes I have purchased from market was anyway, all the spices come from the market, but these are the ready mixes. This is a butter chicken mixed spice. I don't use it much, but since I said that I don't want to overwhelm you with the ingredients, I'm going to add this butter chicken spice mix. So in the marination, we use the tandoori mix, and this is butter chicken spices. Both are different. Both come in different packages, and what they're going to do is very different. It's time to get a hang of the salt in this. Wow, it's coming along good. It's a bit sour right now. It doesn't have to be. And at this point of time, we are going to add coconut powder. I got it from market. The Indian stores should have it, and other stores should also have it. This is the coconut powder. We are going to add it. We can add a little bit of sugar, very, very little sugar to it. The sugar is not here to make it sweet. The sugar, this is powdered sugar. I just used a teaspoon of it. The sugar is to balance the flavors of the spices we have, to create a balance, just to create the balance of spices. We have put this and adjust the flavors. When we add a little bit of sugar into any dish you could add little, very little sugar. It enhances the natural flavors of food. All the soups, the pastas, or everything we are eating from market, they have sugar in it. So how do we know that the curry is done cooking and it is not raw anymore? You can see oil separating on the top of the curry. This red thing on the top of the curry, which is now chili, and the oil is coming off, and the curry is almost done. I'm going to cool it properly because we have to put it in a blender one more time. So it is very important that you cool it for as much time as you want, and only then we can blend it. So this is the curry we made from onions, tomatoes, can of tomatoes, some spices, and the chicken stock. And right now it's cold. I have transferred it into a different utensil, and this has become cold now, but this is not ready. The idea of butter chicken is velvety, smooth, and silky gravy you have to get. It's just not the butter. We haven't even yet added the butter. Actually, we have made it almost without oil. The entire thing has been, if you remember, we did not use anything extra. Any oil has not been added to it. We actually use the leftovers of the oil from the, you know, shallow frying of the chicken, and we obtained this now. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to put it in a blender and sieve it through. And I'm not going to show you all the steps, but this is the cold gravy. I'm going to put it in the blender and sieve it through. Sieve it through as much as possible. Try to get the best out of this. Sieve it till nothing is left in the sieve. You could use a soup sieve or any, but it doesn't have to be super thin sieve. It could be, you know, a good amount of broad holes in it, but it is a soup sieve I'm using right now. So anyway, we are done with this. So this is the velvety, smooth, red gravy we have been talking about, which goes into the butter chicken. We have obtained this without any kind of artificial colors. In the market or in the pictures, if you see the, you know, the color of the butter chicken is very, very red, that means a lot of artificial colors have been used. But we have used all the you know, organic ingredients, the tomatoes, the chilies, and nothing more than that to obtain this kind of color. I'll show you. It's pretty red. It's pretty dark orange, but I'll show you how it looks like. Maybe, you know, we can dim the light, but this is, you can actually feel the texture. We're almost on our way, and I have to add 2 more ingredients to it. One is roasted bell pepper soup. The roasted bell peppers are secret ingredients in many, many recipes. You could make it at home. You could use the bell peppers, char them on fire or barbecue them, and remove their skins, and crush them into a paste. So here it is. We are pretty close. And one more thing I have to add in this is a little bit of, very, very little tomato paste. Now everything is cooking. We are almost on our way. So now this is time to put the butter in. Yes, this whole blob or more. You could use any much amount of butter. More the merrier. Yes, the whole blob of butter is going in this curry now to give it the final touches. See, this is the only amount of fat which has gone into this, because initially we did not use much fat to cook the chicken. The chicken has its own fat, and whatever was remaining in the pan we used to cook the onion soup. So we are almost on our way to get this done. I'm going to cook it for about 15-20 minutes. So making butter chicken is not easy. Making good butter chicken is really not easy. So see the amount of time we have spent getting this smooth gravy. You can't believe its taste, and I have just now tasted it, and you can't believe it how tasty and beautiful red color it has come out to be. And see, oh my God, it's pure heaven right now. So this gravy is ready right now, and you have to decide when it is ready. When it's nice, red, smooth, shiny, at that time we add all the chicken pieces to it. Just save yourself. Okay. All the marination, leftover juices, everything I have added to this gravy. Well, I'm telling you this, I know my family is going to eat this today. And this is one of the most memorable butter chickens I have ever made. And yes, it was an effort. It was a long effort, spices, but look at this, silk. This is like pure silk right now. So I have added the chicken to it, and you remember we had not cooked the chicken, we had seared it from outside. I'm going to let it sit for 5 to 10 more minutes now. It's time to put the lid on. Here you go. It's not done. It's cooking. It's simmering in its juices. And we gotta wait for 5 to 10 minutes here. Let the chicken cook. So the butter chicken is ready. And see what we have achieved today is a velvety smooth gravy. And the butter chicken is almost made. I actually cooked the chicken for 20 minutes precisely in the gravy on low heat, and I'll take some, this is a long shot, and I'll take some close-ups right now because we are going to plate it, and let's get ready for it. To garnish the butter chicken, we are going to use the most popular thing here, the cream. Here goes the cream, and fenugreek. So fenugreek is supposed to be, or kasuri methi is supposed to be the only herb used, and this is the method to use the fenugreek. You have to rub between the palms, and then you have to use a little bit of coriander. And one more thing which I started using over a period of time is a little bit of powdered mint. And now this is done. You can add a little more cream to it, and the butter chicken is ready. Yes, this is the most amazing butter chicken. I have already tasted it, and today my family is going to eat it, and this is so good. So the butter chicken is ready, and I'm going to taste it here, and let's see how it's come out. It's actually come out very nice. It's taken me 20 years of practice to make this dish. Let's see. Oh my God. This is so good. I must show you a piece of chicken, how it's come out. You want to try? It's mine. The velvety, smooth, silky butter chicken. Go for it.